Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. And in this episode, I want to talk about how to define your target audience. I get a lot, probably, I would say 60% of the people that I work with don't know who they're selling their products and services to. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. What tends to happen in the calls that I tend to get are people that are, they've been in business, some of them for a while, and they don't understand who their service is for. They don't understand who their products are for. And they don't understand that they don't understand that, if that makes sense. But that's really what it boils down to. As I dive into, what it means to define your target audience, I want to just share briefly one of the things I do with my clients, because I am a business strategist. And you may be thinking, well, what exactly does that mean? Well, a business strategist is able to look at an entire business, and they're able to look at things that are working, look at things that aren't working, and make suggestions. And I know people, use the word business coach and consultant and strategist kind of interchangeably, but a strategist is someone who can kind of dissect things, and they're not, I can look at an entire business and kind of look and see what's going wrong. And so one of the big problems that I see with a lot of my, probably 60% of my coaching clients, as I think I mentioned before, is they don't understand how to connect with their target audience online. And they don't understand what problem they're solving. And, there's just a big disconnect between their service and the solution and who needs that solution. So I want to kind of break that down in this episode. So if you've caught my other season 2 episode, where I talk about, how to define your business idea. You may be thinking, I have this business idea, or maybe you've been in business for a while and you just aren't making traction. You aren't getting clients that actually reach out to you. You aren't getting people contacting you about your business. And so one of the things I want you to I want you to try all the different things that I share with you. And a lot of what I will be sharing with you in this episode is also in my Boss Business Launch Planner, where I dive deep into, how to define your target audience, how to determine, what it is you should sell, your strengths when it comes to, what kind of business you should develop. I give you marketing strategies, as well as, tips to, implement systems in your business. So if you haven't grabbed your copy yet, after you finish this episode, head over to bossbusinessplanner.com to grab your copy. I just want to share with you, kind of give you some tips and strategies to kind of figure out who your target audience is. So if you listen to my other episode about business ideas, once you have a business idea, or even if you've been in business for a while, it starts with what problem you solve. You have to know what problem you solve, and you have to know who you solve that problem for and how you're going to solve that problem. And I hope you got that. That's what problem you solve, who you solve that problem for, and how you're going to solve the problem. And I'll talk about the how and how to really package your services up in another episode. In this episode, I really want to keep it to, how do you connect with your target audience by defining your problem and figuring out, who exactly is your target audience, who wants your product or service, right? And one of the big things that I talked about in the season 2 episode about, refining your business idea or discovering your business idea is understanding that you solve a problem, and also understanding that you don't just sell a product or a service. What you're selling is a solution to someone's problem. And you have to know who that someone is. So one of the things, the first thing you want to do is to define what it is you're really truly selling. And it's not the service you're selling. It's not the product you're selling. What exactly are you selling? And it starts with the problem. What problem do you solve? And what happens when people have that particular problem? So let's say someone had a child, a baby, and they're struggling to get back to their pre-baby weight, right? So, someone who has that struggle, they have to know what it is up front that you're going to do for them. If you're offering a service, you have to have a promise to them, whether it's lose baby fat within 60 days or, I'll help you, flatten your stomach or something. You have to give me something because I can't, I don't want exactly the service that you're selling because I can get that anywhere. I don't want the product that you're selling. I can get that anywhere. I need to hear how you're going to change my life. And I need to hear how you're going to help me make a transformation. So the first thing you want to do is to really get clear on the problem you solve and what someone experiences as a result of having that problem. And when I say, what are they experiencing as a result of having that problem, these things are called pain points. And when we talk about the pain points that someone experiences when they come to someone for a service, these are things that are truly causing them stress. They're causing them to be unhappy. They're causing them to not have joy or to be in distress. And the way you want to think about it, and I once heard this marketer, so I can't take credit for this particular statement, but I once heard this another marketer online say, you have to think of your client's problem in terms of a toothache. You have, just think about the progression of a toothache. So you have someone who, may have a little discomfort in maybe their left side of their jaw, and it's the start of a toothache. You don't know if it's a cavity, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to go to the dentist today. I'm going to floss. It's probably something stuck in there, whatever the case may be. It's not an urgent matter at that moment. But once you wait a little bit, then, it starts to progress and you have a little discomfort and you're like, okay, I can, I'll go to the dentist this month or I'll go to the dentist next week. So it's still not urgent enough for this person to say, or, to say, hey, I need to address this problem. And then you have those toothaches that I need to get into a dentist appointment somewhere today because my mouth is throbbing. I'm in tremendous pain. So when you're talking about solving a problem for people, for them to pay you money, you have to solve a big problem. And that problem has to be urgent enough for them to invest money to solve it. Because there's no urgency if it's not a big problem. There's no urgency if it's not something that's truly distressing or troubling to them. So you have to be clear on that. So you have to know the problem, you have to know the pain points, and you have to have a big promise statement so that people know up front what it is you do, who you help, what you help them achieve, and how you help them. And if you can remember those three things in terms of, how you're helping people and what you're helping them do and the big problem that you solve, people will search you out. You'll attract people. You have to remember that once you know what it is you do and the big problem that you're helping people solve, everything you do from that point on centers around solving those problems for people. Everything in your content, every time you show up online, you focus on those issues, because some of the issues that I'm seeing people, kind of stumble on is focusing, not knowing what problem, trying to sell their product and just, posting the product, posting this item that they have for sale. And it's great to post things you have for sale because we are in the selling business as entrepreneurs, but you got to give people something else. If the only thing you have to contribute is what you sell, people aren't going to tune in. So you have to give people something else, a reason to tune into you, because there's a lot of noise online. There's a lot to pay attention to, and people aren't going to pay attention to you if they don't understand what it is that you do. They may like your photo, but in terms of spending money with you and doing business with you, they have to know what you do. They have to believe you can solve their problem. And they have to understand how you're going to solve the problem so they can know it's worth their investment. So, with that being said, that is how you discover your target audience. You figure out their pain points. You you understand the big problem you solve. You give them a big promise, and you make sure all of your content, everything you do online, all of your programs center around solving that big problem for your client. Because the trouble with trying to sell to everyone is you end up selling to no one because no one understands what it is you're doing. And the problem with not having clear messaging and not really focusing on a problem is no one understands what you do, so they're not going to invest money or time with you. And if all of this sounds like it's too, you need help and you'd like assistance trying to figure all of this out, feel free to reach out to me. My email is in the description below, or you can reach out to me at michelledavisnyc.com, and that's Michele with one L. And you can see what services I provide. You can see how you best learn. And if you're not really ready to jump into coaching sessions yet, you can also buy the Boss Business Launch Planner, where I take you through step by step how to connect with your target audience. So, with that being said, that concludes this episode. And so, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.